Would it be fair to say that if we had discovered life on Mars, President Biden would have sent it money?
I think that's fair.
And
What if I told you the government might be misleading you about poverty in America? Yeah, you heard that right. In a powerful Senate hearing, John Kennedy exposed something shocking about inflation, government spending, and how poverty is actually measured. And trust me, this changes NAP. So in this hearing, Senator Kennedy grills budget expert Russel, and what comes out is a brutal reality check on the Biden-era economy. We're talking inflation, government handouts, media funding, and a poverty statistic that might not be what you think it is. Kennedy doesn't hold back. He points directly at massive federal spending and connects it to one thing Americans felt in their wallets: inflation. At one point, inflation hit around 9%. And here's the key argument. That's not just numbers on a chart, that's a hidden tax. A tax that hits hardest on the middle class. Think about it. Food, fuel, rent, everything goes up.
Senator Kennedy.
Mr. Director, welcome.
Thank you.
I want to ask you your thoughts on a few subjects. I consider you to be an expert on the federal budget and on public policy in general. I want to talk about the situation that you inherited from the Biden administration. Would it be fair to say that if we had discovered life on Mars, President Biden would have sent it money?
I think that's fair.
And would it be fair to say that the amount of money that President Biden and my Democratic friends spent was so outrageous that it resulted in 9% inflation? Is that a fair statement?
Precisely, and I was one of the people that was noting that at the time. They passed the bills that led directly to 9% inflation, historically so.
Then the conversation shifts to media funding. Remember when there was outrage about cutting about $1.1 billion from NPR and PBS? Critics said it would destroy public broadcasting. But guess what? They're still here, still operating, still producing content. This raises a serious question. Why are taxpayers funding media organizations that can survive without government support? From a right-wing viewpoint, this is about accountability. If a service can stand on its own, why should citizens be forced to pay for it? Then comes a brief but important moment on foreign policy. Kennedy and Vaught agree on something simple, but critical. Countries like Iran should never be trusted with nuclear weapons. This reflects a broader conservative stance. Peace through strength, not wishful thinking. Because when it comes to national security, you don't within Chaffin's. Now, this is where things get really interesting.
And NPR still exists, doesn't it?
As does PBS.
Right. Okay. I want to ask you another question that doesn't, well, it has to do with the budget a little bit. When he was alive, would you have given Charles Manson a nuclear weapon?
Absolutely not.
Isn't that what Iran's all about?
This country, the country that we are engaged with operations against, does not and should never have, or should never have a nuclear weapon. They cannot be trusted with a nuclear weapon.
All right. All right, in my last 2 minutes, and I'm going to stay within my time because our chairman here is tough as a boot and he's going to cut me off. Do you happen to know what our poverty rate is in America?
Yes, I mean, it's about 32,000 as a family of four, and it's this formula that you consider.
What percentage of Americans?
I don't know what percentage of Americans.
If you ask the Census Bureau, they tell you 11%. It's been 11 or 12% since God was a child. And I started looking at why that is. Are you aware that the Census Bureau under its definition of poverty, only counts cash payments to the American people, not non-cash benefits. Were you aware of that?
I am aware of that.
And are you aware of the fact that if we count both cash benefits and non-cash benefits, for example, food stamps, which the Census Bureau says doesn't count. If we count non-cash benefits, all this money coming, of course, from the American people, that the poverty rate would be 1%. Don't you think we ought to give the American people credit for reducing poverty in our country? I'm proud of that. Are you aware, I got 32 seconds. These are the programs that the Census Bureau refuses to consider as part of the American people's gift to neighbors who are less fortunate than them. I'm going to read them quickly. SNAP payments don't count. WIC payments don't count. Emergency food.
Kennedy challenges how the government measures poverty. Right now, the official method used by agencies like the U.S. Census Bureau does not fully count non-cash benefits. We're talking about programs like SNAP, food stamps, Medicaid, housing subsidies. These are real resources people receive, but they're often left out of poverty calculations. Kennedy argues that if you included all these benefits, the poverty rate could drop dramatically, possibly even close to 1%. Think about that. That would mean government programs are far more effective than reported, but also that the data being shown to Americans is incomplete. Vaught agrees, saying the current system may not give a full picture, and he's open to fixing it. So what's the takeaway here? This hearing wasn't just politics, it was a reality check on spending, on inflation, on media funding, and on how truth can get buried in statistics. The big question is, are Americans getting the full story, or just the version that fits a narrative more? If you want more breakdowns like this, real talk, no fluff, hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this video.